There is a highly volatile liquid that costs exactly $3. It completely clears choked catalytic converters from the inside. It instantly turns off the dreaded check engine light. No expensive dealership diagnostic fees. No heavy plasma cutters removing your exhaust pipe. No paying thousands for a brand new catalytic converter. Just a cheap metal can and a half tank of gas. Mechanics charge $2,500 to replace a clogged exhaust system. They tell you the internal metals are completely destroyed. They are lying strictly to harvest your precious metals. This $3 liquid chemically strips the baked carbon crust. It takes exactly one long highway drive to work. It costs less than a gallon of premium gasoline. Why did the dealership instantly quote you $2,500? Because the catalytic converter replacement industry is a massive racket. When your dashboard throws the terrifying P0420 error code, the dealership technician rubs his hands together in absolute joy. The modern catalytic converter is filled with incredibly rare metals. Platinum, palladium, and heavy rhodium line the internal honeycomb. The dealership charges you thousands for a brand new unit. But the true financial scam happens behind the closed garage doors. They keep your supposedly dead catalytic converter for themselves. They physically cut it open and extract the rare metals. They sell your old exhaust to industrial recyclers for $300. You literally paid them massive labor rates to steal your property. They engineered a closed loop of absolute financial extraction. A $3 chemical vapor that cleans the metals destroys this scam. Let me take you back to the massive industrial boom of 1975. The federal government violently mandated strict vehicle emission standards. Automakers panicked and quickly bolted massive catalytic converters onto cars. But early automotive engines burned oil incredibly dirty and rich. The massive unburned carbon deposits immediately choked the early converters. The cars literally suffocated and stalled on the massive highways. Chemical engineers desperately needed a volatile solvent to clear the blockages. They turned to heavy aromatic hydrocarbons, like pure toluene and xylene. These are the exact raw chemicals found in pure lacquer thinner. Industrial painters use them to violently strip heavy marine paint. When engineers poured these aromatic solvents into the early fuel tanks, the chemical results completely stunned the automotive testing laboratories. The intense exhaust heat vaporized the powerful solvents instantly. The superheated vapor violently stripped the heavy carbon off the honeycomb. The choked catalytic converters returned to 100% factory exhaust flow. The chemical that saved the early emissions crisis costs pennies per ounce. But the modern mechanic cartel aggressively buried this raw chemistry. Before we expose the exact exhaust chemistry, listen closely. This choked converter secret is just a single battlefield. The massive automotive cartel is actively hiding hundreds of permanent fixes. This channel is strictly dedicated to exposing every single lie. We are currently uncovering the $2 slipping transmission fluid fix. We are releasing the absolute off-grid power generation blueprints soon. Hit the subscribe button right now to secure your financial freedom. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Do not let them keep you completely dependent and financially drained. But absolutely do not close this video right now. We are about to dismantle the massive exhaust cartel completely. What actually happens inside your choked catalytic converter? Mechanics tell you the precious metals are completely burned up. They claim the internal honeycomb is physically melted and destroyed. That is an absolute and verifiable mechanical fabrication. Your engine naturally produces heavy carbon soot and unburned oil. This heavy soot travels violently down the hot exhaust pipe. It violently slams into the microscopic platinum honeycomb grid. Over 100,000 miles, this soot violently bakes onto the metals. It forms a thick, impenetrable crust over the platinum surface. The precious metals can no longer touch the toxic exhaust gases. The critical chemical emissions reaction completely and utterly stops. The computer oxygen sensors instantly detect the dirty exhaust flow. They trigger the dreaded P0420 check engine light on your dashboard. Your engine literally chokes on its own toxic exhaust fumes. The mechanic treats a dirty metal grid exactly like a melted grid. So how does a $3 liquid strip this exact baked crust? Pure lacquer thinner contains highly aggressive aromatic solvents. When you pour this pure liquid directly into your gasoline, it travels through the fuel injectors and into the combustion chamber. These specific solvents burn significantly hotter and cleaner than standard gasoline. They survive the intense combustion explosion just enough to vaporize. They enter the dark exhaust pipe as a superheated chemical vapor. This superheated vapor violently slams into the clogged platinum honeycomb. The aggressive aromatic molecules chemically attack the baked carbon crust. They physically break the heavy carbon bonds holding the soot together. The solid crust chemically dissolves into a microscopic fine ash. The intense exhaust pressure aggressively blows the ash out the tailpipe. The microscopic platinum and palladium metals become completely bare again. The critical emissions reaction resumes with 100% factory efficiency. The oxygen sensors detect the clean air and turn off the engine light. This is a permanent chemical restoration of the precious metals. Why is this raw solvent not aggressively advertised at dealerships? Let us look precisely at the brutal economic reality of exhaust repair. A modern dealership relies entirely on incredibly expensive replacement parts. They mark up the new catalytic converter by over 300%. A professional catalytic converter replacement costs $2,500 and lasts 60 months. This superheated chemical vapor costs $3 and lasts forever. A branded catalytic converter cleaning bottle costs $35 and lasts 12 months. This raw aromatic solvent costs $3 and lasts forever. You absolutely cannot build a massive global franchise on raw paint thinner. You cannot charge massive labor rates for simply pouring a liquid. If every driver in America vaporized their own exhaust blockages, the massive catalytic converter recycling industry would collapse overnight. They survive strictly because you inherently panic when the dashboard lights up. You are exactly funding their massive, precious metal recycling empires. How do you vaporize this heavy exhaust sludge today? Here is the strict and unforgiving protocol to clear your converter. Go immediately to any large hardware or home improvement store. Walk directly into the massive paint preparation and thinner aisle. Look for a metal labeled as 100% pure lacquer thinner. Do not buy regular paint thinner or basic mineral spirits. You strictly need the aggressive aromatic solvents inside lacquer thinner. A large metal quart of this raw solvent costs roughly $12. That equals exactly $3 for the required heavy chemical dose. Wait until your vehicle gas tank is exactly half full. Remove the gas cap and use a basic plastic funnel. Pour exactly 32 ounces of the pure lacquer thinner into the gas tank. Replace the gas cap securely and start the heavy engine. You must immediately drive the vehicle onto a high-speed interstate highway. Drive aggressively at roughly 3,000 revolutions per minute for exactly 150 miles. You must generate massive internal exhaust heat to vaporize the solvent. The superheated vapor will violently strip the carbon crust completely. When you finish the long drive, fill the tank with premium gas. The dreaded check engine light will permanently turn off. You just saved yourself $2,500 using a basic hardware store chemical. This chemical vapor is much more than a simple automotive trick. This is a glaring rejection of an incredibly destructive replacement cycle. Every time a massive industry discovers a cheap chemical purge, they deliberately bury it deep in the absolute dark. They replace it with incredibly expensive and completely unnecessary replacements. They train their technicians to aggressively steal your precious metals. They rely entirely on your inherent fear of the check engine light. They want you completely and utterly dependent on their diagnostic computers. Early mechanics knew exactly how to purge heavy carbon from engines. The automotive industry actively ignored that resilient maintenance on purpose. That vicious cycle of corporate extraction ends right here today. You now possess the exact chemical blueprint to purge your exhaust. Share this critical knowledge with every single driver you know. Send this to anyone facing a massive emissions repair bill. Take back absolute control of your own vehicle maintenance. But this is only the sixth step in our massive investigation. There is another heavily guarded mechanical secret you need to see. A $2 additive that permanently fixes violently slipping automatic transmissions. The massive transmission rebuild industry prayed you never discovered this fluid. Click the video on your screen right now to uncover it. Starve the massive corporate system that violently bleeds you dry. The next vault is officially open.